Good day, class, and welcome to the syllabus review for Psych Tests and Measures, Psych 390 for Fall 2021. All right, I'm your instructor for this term. My name is Dr. Anthony Hubert. This course is Psych 390 D1, Psych Tests and Measures. My office location is the Butler Building 241A. My office hours are between 2 to 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the office, and Mondays and Wednesdays at 2 to 4 on Zoom. This class is entirely dedicated online. My phone number is 910-672-2611, and you can see my email address located there. Now, general COVID-19 statement, please take the opportunity to read this at your leisure, but understanding that we're still in the throes of this pandemic and the variant as well. So this is just a caution to stay safe and be very engaged with regard to your behaviors so that we can keep ourselves safe as well as others. This course is a survey of the major methods of evaluating and comparing psychological and physical abilities, including methods of measurement, basic statistical concepts relative to evaluation, and applications of psychological testing. The prerequisite for this course is Psych 233 or Statistics. Some important information in the syllabus. Take the opportunity to read this information as well, located there. Dealing with disabled student services, if you need to reach out, there's contact information located in your syllabus, as well as our Title IX coordinator. If there's any issues dealing with people's behavior while on the university or dealing with university personnel, please make sure that you follow the instructions there to reach out to the proper people to get it dealt with. The required textbook, Kaplan and Sakuzo, 2018, Psychological Testing, Principles, Applications, and Issues in the 9th edition. Students are expected to own or have access to a copy of the required textbook and are required to read all assigned readings by the dates identified on the course schedule. Additional readings and activities required for the course will be made available on Canvas. The student learning outcomes. Let's read these. Be familiar with the scope and history of psychological tests. Be conversant with the statistical aspects of psychological tests and measurements. Be aware of the importance of the key tasks of writing and evaluating test items and issues related to test administration. Be familiar with the application principles related to testing, including interviewing techniques. Review and discuss empirical findings related to the analysis and evaluation of psychological tests. Demonstrate knowledge of a variety of commonly used psychological tests, for example, tests of intelligence, special populations, industrial and businesses. Demonstrate a familiarity with test bias and its controversy, and be conversant with the current and future trends of psychological testing. Our course components. We have several unit exams as well as a comprehensive final, which will count for 35% of our final grade. Chapter quiz homework assignments will account for 30% of our final grade. And then we have several activities, two of which are psychological test critique and the annotated bibliography, which will account for 20% of our final grade. And finally, 50% will be accounted for by our discussion forums. As you can see here, our grading point scale will be a 10-point scale in this course, meaning a 90 is an A, 80 is a B, 70 is a C, and so on. Discussion forums. I want to provide a little bit more information about discussion forums just to make sure we understand what the basic instructions are. Posts should be spread over several days, not all in one day. You should make at least 4 posts, 1 original post, and 3 responses to your classmates' posts. The post to your classmates should be more than just great post or good job. Posts should be complete ideas and thoughts. Prove and indicate that you really actually read and understand what your peer has said, and you're providing some input into that to sort of continue the conversation. And finally, be sure to address the questions asked and or follow the instructions provided. So when we have a discussion forum, there may be a specific item that needs to be addressed that I want you to talk about. Be sure that in your original post, you do that. Now, normally the way discussion forums are designed in my class is that you will not be able to see the posts of others until you post your original post. And during that original post, you should communicate the key ideas and respond to the key questions that have been posed. We can see at the bottom here an excerpt of the grading rubric that's employed as a guide so that I can grade your discussion forums. Now, the psychological test, critique, and annotated bibliography. These assignments are designed to increase your familiarity with analyzing a psychological test and to review research utilizing a psychological test of interest. So, using the various psychological test databases, select a psychological test of interest and then locate at least 5 peer-reviewed articles using a PSYC discovery engine that employ the chosen psychological test. You should complete a thorough review of the articles, then following the format of the annotated bibliography template, which will be provided, complete the assignment. Highlighting the purpose of the research and test and interesting findings and psychological test properties communicated in the article. At the bottom left here, we can see the psychological test database, and there are actually links on your syllabus as well as on the Canvas site, so you can go and peruse them to see what type of psychological tests you might want to explore a little bit more thoroughly. These tests are not the tests that you have to pay for. I want to make sure that you should not be paying for any psychological instrument during this course. There are plenty of tests out there which are free to use and to review, and these are done primarily for research. So look for those particular tests. Once you find one that you're interested in, you can then use the PSYC discovery engine here to search for the full text peer-reviewed sources that utilize that particular test that you've chosen. Once you have the annotated bibliography, there's a template that you'll be using to complete your assignment. It will be graded using this rubric as a guide, looking at the quality of sources that you are able to obtain, the accuracy of the bibliographic citation, the annotations, content, the structure, and overall quality. Now, your participation and expectations. This is updated in your syllabus. It was not in the very first one that was posted there. It had gotten left off for some reason. So, students are required to attend classes by logging onto Canvas regularly and actively participating in all class activities. Topics for discussion will be posted regularly on the discussion board, and students are expected to contribute to discussion of these topics. Students will also be expected to spend at least 6 hours per week engaging in academic activities outside of the Canvas classroom. These activities may include reading the textbook, posting and posted articles, studying for quizzes, research topics for essays and paper assignments, and watching the videos posted on Canvas as well. Also, a note about academic honesty. Academic honesty is required for student success. Acts of dishonesty should be avoided. Such acts include cheating, plagiarism, misrepresentation, fabrication of information, and assisting others in completing such acts during any portion of this course. The consequences of such can be quite severe. Now, here's just a really quick excerpt from the syllabus, the assignment schedule. It's much more detailed on your Canvas site. So we can see the very first week here, August 18th to 22nd, really low-key orientation and welcome is what the focus is going to be on. And this is part of that activity. This video I'm doing now will be posted shortly as part of your orientation into the course. Then the next week we'll be looking at Chapter 1, the introduction to the entirety of this course. Then after that, Chapter 2, looking at norms and basic statistics for testing, followed up by Chapter 3, correlation and regression. It's going to be a lot of review of courses that you've taken before, particularly statistics, okay, but we want to make sure that we're all sort of like on the same page as we begin this particular journey. Once we've done those first 3 chapters, we'll be ready for our first exam. Now let's look on Canvas to see how it's laid out there. So once you sign into the Canvas site, and then you select, looking at arrow number 1 here, modules, you'll see several things pop up. One of the things that you can see here is item pointed at but arrow 2, psychological test databases, accessing research articles, and the annotated bibliography instructions and template. So all that stuff that I mentioned previously is located there as a resource module on your Canvas site. Then we can see module number 1. Module number 1 is where you'll have the table laid out for you. That's going to be much more detailed information as to what is expected of you during this course. So module number 1 goes from August 18th to September 12th with a test due date of September 14th. Let's see what happens when we click onto it. When we click on it, we get this tabular format here, where in the first column we have the week. We're now looking at arrow number 1, August 18th to 22nd. The next column goes over to the orientation and welcome, and then we can see assignment and activities in the last column. Looking at arrow number 3, I know that some of you already selected this. We look at welcome and course introduction form, where we can sort of introduce ourselves and get more familiar with one another as we begin this particular semester. Item number arrow pointing here, number 2, also points out to something I want to make sure you're aware of, is the notes for the particular chapters. And the notes here are nothing more than PowerPoint slides, very well structured PowerPoint slides that really cover the key ideas and topics for a particular chapter, so they can serve as notes for you, and you can download those. We've already talked about arrow 3 and the welcome and course introduction. Arrow 4 is a video. I haven't done any videos for this course as of yet, but there are some videos that I was able to locate for you that are relevant to the topics under discussion. So here we have, for arrow number 4, psychological testing overview video, which you should view. Followed with arrow number 5, we have the Chapter 1 quiz homework. Now, with Chapter 1 quizzes and chapter quizzes, what we see is that you can save and resume them. So you can open them, work on them, save them, and then return to them until you're done, and you can then submit them at that time. Then we have arrow number 6 at the very bottom, looking at exam 1. Normally, I will have a study guide available for you in preparation for the exam. Exam number 1 will usually open up the Friday before its due date. So the Friday prior to September 14th, the exam will be available to you, and it needs to be completed by September 14th. So again, you'll have a study guide available for you by the time the exam is ready. You take the exam, and it is a 1 attempt. It should be around 90 minutes long for you to be able to complete the exam. Okay? All right, so if you have any question regarding any of the information I covered here, or something that I did not cover that you want to have some clarity on, please let me know. This is my contact information again. You see my email address and phone number, as well as my office hours. All right, take care. See you guys, and stay safe.